Happy Thanksgiving week. It is Monday, November 24th, 2025, and time for your Monday market update. Thanks so much for watching. Let's take a quick look at your Montgomery County numbers for the last 7 days in Montgomery County. So we had 88 new listings. We had 88 under contract, 115 closed sales, 40 price changes, 2 expireds, and 27 currently on the private network. Now, this is going to be a slow week for real estate. As many of you are probably focusing on your family and focusing on the holiday, but we are still working today and tomorrow, and then we're going to take the rest of the week off like probably the majority of the country. But after we come back from the holiday, we're kind of going to see this little bit of a resurgence, a little bit of a bump in our market, and then it will be relatively slow through the month of December. But right now, a lot of people are talking about 2026 and what is that going to look like. There's a lot of speculation that we will have lower interest rates, we'll have more inventory, prices will remain strong, and it's going to be a great year for real estate. Now, especially here in the Midwest, because affordability is the thing that everyone is still talking about, because nationwide, it is still very difficult for the average American household to afford the average sales price at the current interest rates. So we need interest rates to come down. We want prices to hold steady because we certainly don't want prices to come down, because then we have the speculation of a recession or a crash. And we do not anticipate that that will happen. In fact, there's almost zero speculation that we will have any sort of a housing crash, certainly not here in the Midwest. We don't have enough inventory for that to be happening. Now, the Sun Belt, so like Florida, Texas, Arizona, those places we are seeing a surplus of inventory, and we're seeing some price reductions, which means we're seeing some bargain hunters return to the market. So that is one of the reasons why we think 2026 will be a great year, because they didn't have any hurricanes in Florida this year. So in 2024, we saw sales greatly dip in Florida, but in 2025, we saw them kind of come back because of the lack of hurricanes. So we've got a lot of different factors that are going to be leading into what we think is going to be a great real estate market in 2026, certainly better than the last 3 years that we've had, as people become sick of waiting. We're still having more and more people with that. They've been waiting too long and they finally decide, forget it, I'm just gonna move, or it's time. We've got some job issues. So some people are losing their jobs. They're starting to have trouble paying for their mortgages. We're going to have some turnover due to that. We've also got life events that we talk about all the time that are continuing to happen. So 2026 should be a good year for real estate, especially if those interest rates come closer to 6 than they do to 7. So we had a really strong, we're looking like we're having a great fourth quarter in 2025. I know already I'm getting calls about people wanting to list their home. And some people would think, oh my gosh, now would be a terrible time to list your home. That is not true, especially in this area. So in Crystal Lake, now nationwide, we have the number one reason why people move is to be closer to family. But especially here in Crystal Lake and in our surrounding area, where people are coming home for the holidays, they're coming back here where they grew up, they were raised, their family still lives here. Maybe they've moved off for a couple of years, but now they're getting married, they're having babies, and they're gonna come home, they're gonna come to Crystal Lake, and they're gonna be like, man, this is such a great place to live. This would be a great place to raise a family. I think it's time to move back. And what are they going to do? They're going to get on Zillow. They're going to get on Redfin. They're going to get on all of those websites and start looking at homes. So actually right now can be a great time to sell your home, because there's not as much competition on the market. So if you list your home, there aren't 3 other in your neighborhood also available. So less competition, and you've got a lot of people looking while it's the holidays. You're sitting around talking to your family. You might get bored. You might be watching movies that you don't want to watch, and you're going to hop on Zillow and go look at the houses that are available for sale. So it actually can be a really good time to sell your house, especially when we have still very, very low inventory. So that is it for today. We've got a short update for you this week because it is a holiday week. Enjoy Thanksgiving with your family. Thank you to all of those of you that came to our grand opening and our ribbon cutting this past week. We had an incredible week. We did our blessing basket donation drive. We ended up with 30 baskets, and we dropped them off this morning to District 155, and they were so happy to have those baskets to distribute to their families in need. So thank you for your support on that, and we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.